So yes, good evening, everyone. Yes, this is Dr. Abhijeet, and today we are going to discuss about cerebellum. So before starting with the session, just give me a thumbs up in the chat box, guys, that the audio and visuals are perfectly fine. So just give me a thumbs up in the chat box. Yes, the audio and visuals are perfectly fine. So let's start with the session today, that is on cerebellum. Yes, we are going to discuss another important aspect in the neuroanatomy today, and that is regarding the cerebellum, right? The cerebellum. Now, yes, before starting with this, guys, I hope the audio and visuals are fine. Just give me a thumbs up in the chat box, guys. Yes. I hope you all are present over here. Yes. Sure. Let's start with the session, guys. So remember, guys, that the cerebellum, it is the largest part of the hindbrain. It is the largest part of hindbrain. It is the largest part of the hindbrain, right? And remember the site, guys, where it is present. So remember, it occupies, yes, it occupies most of the, write down, it occupies most of the posterior cranial fossa. Posterior cranial fossa. So it occupies most of the posterior cranial fossa. So yes, guys, I hope you are here. Just let me know if you are here, guys. Yes. Yes. So now, guys, you already know. If I take a sagittal section, guys, let us just try to look about the relations of this cerebellum. Now, guys, I have already told you if we take a sagittal section, I'm cutting this brain from middle and I'm removing this part and just trying to see my brain from side. How it will look like? How will it look like, guys? You already know. The uppermost part over here, yes. Yes, the cerebral part, the cerebral cortex and everything, guys, right? We have the diencephalon, the thalamus, the hypothalamus and everything, right? We have this diencephalon. I'm not marking like because you already know this, right? We have a part of the midbrain. We have this pons, right? And below we have the medulla oblongata, right? Below we have the medulla oblongata. Behind, guys, you already know we have the fourth ventricle. Yes, behind we have this floor of the fourth ventricle is there over here, right? The fourth ventricle is there. And over here, it is the place where the cerebellum is located. Over here, it is where the cerebellum it is located. Now remember, guys, this cerebellum superiorly, it is like separated by the cerebral cortex with the help of a structure called as tentorium cerebelli. It is called as tentorium cerebelli. Jean, very good, Jean. Now this tentorium cerebelli, it is separating the cerebellum, okay, from this cerebral hemispheres, right? From this cerebral hemispheres, right? Superiorly, guys, right? Now this cerebellum, obviously, this is the anterior part, and from here to here, it is the posterior part. So it is like more posteriorly the cerebellum is, right, guys? Now, guys, remember over here that we have no, the cavity of the fourth ventricle in the front. We have the cavity of the fourth ventricle, which is separating it from the pons and the medulla oblongata from front, right? So we have this cavity of fourth ventricle, guys, which is separating it from the pons and medulla from front, right? And guys, this is the sagittal section, guys. I cannot show on each sides of this cerebellum. On each sides, guys, remember that what all structures are present, guys. Firstly, we have like sigmoid venous sinuses. Okay, we have this mastoid antrum, guys. We have the mastoid antrum, and we also have the mastoid air cells. Mastoid air cells. So in a very nutshell, guys, cerebellum के आगे क्या present है? Yes, the cavity of the fourth ventricle. Cerebellum के ऊपर क्या present है? जो cerebral hemisphere से उसको separate करता है. This is the tentorium cerebelli. Okay. And guys, on the sides of the cerebellum, what is present? Sigmoid sinus venesis along with the mastoid antrum. That mastoid part I will be teaching in the temporal part also, and also the mastoid air cells. Also the mastoid air cells, guys. So that is about the basic relations of the cerebellum superiorly, anteriorly, and on the sides, how the structures are located. Now, guys, coming on to the most important part, that is the shape, surfaces, and parts. Okay, the anatomy of the cerebellum, guys. The anatomy or the anatomy of the cerebellum over here. And let us just try to see one of the diagrams, guys. Now, guys, I will be first discussing the anatomy of the cerebellum on the basis of its evolution. Okay, evolution basically over here means the part of the cerebellum which is developed first. It is called as archicerebellum. Then the next to evolve, it is, yes, the paleocerebellum, yes. And the third one, guys, yes, the third form, it is the new cerebellum, the newest one, जो बाद में जाके develop हुआ है, So let us just try to discuss about the parts first, guys. So basically it has two surfaces, guys. So I am going to discuss the anatomy of the cerebellum, right? So now, in this cerebellum, we are going to first discuss like it has only two surfaces, guys, and I will be just telling you it is having a globular shaped. Okay, it is a globular shape. So remember, guys, it is globular in shape. It is globular in shape, and it is formed of two cerebellar hemispheres. Formed of two cerebellar hemispheres. It is formed of two cerebellar hemispheres. Now let us just try to look, guys. There is a structure called as, okay, in between, there is a middle band, okay, which is connecting these two cerebellar hemispheres. Just try to draw that. Yes. This middle band, it is basically connecting these two cerebellar hemispheres. Right? So we have these two cerebellar hemispheres. Yes, and it is joining to this middle band, and this middle band is called as vermix. This is called as vermis, right? So this is the vermis, which is basically joining these two middle bands, right? So this is the, yes, this is the vermis, right? So basically the cerebellar hemisphere, the two cerebellar hemispheres which you can see, they are connected by a median vermis, okay, a median band in the midline which is connecting both the cerebellar hemispheres. So obviously this is also the cerebellar hemisphere, this is also the cerebellar hemisphere, right? Now this, okay. Now this vermis has basically two parts, guys, over here. This vermis has two parts. The most caudal part, guys, which I will be highlighting over here is the most, yeah, the topmost part of this vermis, right? Yes, Asif Lahori, hello beta. Yes, Asif Lahori, hello. Yes, the rostral part of the vermis, that is called as lingula. This is called as lingula. Now this lingula, it is prolonged from like the vermis or the superior medullary velum. Okay, so yes, it is the rostral part of the vermix. Apart from that, the caudal part of the vermis, okay, the caudal part, guys, which I'm just highlighting over here, it is called as nodule. It is called as nodule. So this vermis has okay, the rostral part or the topmost part called as the lingula, and the caudalmost part, that is called as the nodule. That is called as the nodule. Now this nodule, now this nodule, it is basically okay, having like the tail-like projections, guys, which you can see, which are coming from this nodule, and this is called as the flocculus. Tapu Bangla, nice lecture. Thank you, beta. And this is called as the, yes, this is called as flocculus. This is called as flocculus. And remember, guys, that this flocculus along with the nodule, they will be together forming, yes, these together, it is combinedly known as the flocculonodular lobe. It is combinedly known as the flocculonodular lobe. The flocculonodular lobe, right? So this is combinedly known as the flocculonodular lobe, right? Now, this is like the lingular part, okay? The vermis, it is like developing very like if we talk about the evolutionary part, this is the first one to develop the lingula, right? The flocconodularis part, right? So basically that is like you guys have to remember over here. And over here, guys, yes, one more thing that you have to remember, it is okay. Let me make this, yeah. So these like cerebellar hemispheres, basically they are divided. They are divided into a small anterior lobe, right, and a big posterior lobe. It is divided into a small anterior lobe. So this is the anterior lobe, and we have a big posterior lobe. We have a big posterior lobe, right? So we have like two lobes, right? The anterior and the posterior lobe, right? Yes, we have the two lobes over here, the anterior and the posterior lobe. Right, so that is, yes, that you have to remember, guys. Yes. Now the vermis is like a midline band. No, it's having like very other names. It's also called as pyramids, like the different parts of this vermis. Vermis is like basically separating on the like superior surface. It's going towards both the sides. Yes, cerebellum. Yes, Hussein. What I will be just discussing it. So remember, guys, I will be discussing the functional division, guys, right now over here. And that is the part, Hussein, I will be discussing it right now. So the anterior lobe, I'm just trying to highlight the anterior lobe over here because I will be telling you which lobes are like, yes. So remember, this is the anterior lobe of the cerebellar hemisphere, right? This is the anterior lobe of the cerebellar hemisphere, right? Okay. Now, let us just discuss the functional division of this cerebellum, guys. And yeah, all the parts will be discussed, Hussein. So let us just try to discuss about, okay, the functional division of the cerebellum. Sudhanshu, okay, the functional division of the cerebellum. Okay, functional division of cerebellum. I will be discussing with respect to evolution also. Okay, what parts are called what? So it will be a very clear picture, guys. Now, the very first thing that you have to remember, it is like divided into three categories, guys. It is like the three categories or the three parts of the cerebellum that you have to know. Yes, the three parts that you have to know. The very first part, it is called as the vestibular part, according to the function, right? Vestibular part. Or guys, as yes, the Hussein has already told told right now that it is also called as the RK cerebellum. It is also called as the RK cerebellum, right? RK cerebellum. Will you complete whole anatomy? Yes, Sudhanshu, I will be completing. Fateh Raviraj, nice lecture. Thank you so much, Fateh. Yes. So we are watching this vestibular part or the RK cerebellum, guys, right? Now, what is this RK cerebellum or the yes, the vestibular part. Now guys, remember guys, when I say arcade cerebellum, developmentally it is the oldest part of the cerebellum. So I'm telling you, developmentally it is oldest part of the cerebellum. Oldest part of cerebellum, right? So remember, now this part, it is basically formed of, okay, the flocculonodular lobe. Okay, it is formed of the flocculonodular lobe. Flocculonodular lobe plus guys, you already know it is the flocculonodular lobe, plus we have the lingula in this. Yes, we have the lingula in this, right? We have the lingula in this, right? So yes, that is something you have to remember, guys. We have the lingula in this and the flocculonodular lobe. If you can just see this picture, guys, over here. If you can just see this picture over here. So this lingula, along with the flocculonodular lobe, along with the nodule and the flocculus, these are the parts of this arcade cerebellum, or I would say in the evolution, guys, these are the parts which are developed first. These are the oldest part in the like development of this particular cerebellum, right? So that is about the arcade cerebellum or the vestibular part. Now guys, why it is called as the vestibule part? Now vestibular part, vestibule, it is basically related to which organ? Right, vestibule, it is related to which organ? Anyone would try to see me? Like anyone would try to, yes. So remember guys, it is basically, so why it is called as the vestibular part, guys? Yes, Hussein Ved, very good. It receives, very good Sudhanshu, very good. Yes, Saktish Shankar, very good, very good. Beta, it is responsible for like the hearing part also. So remember guys, it receives the afferent. Afferent का मतलब होता है आने वाली, right? So इस part में it will be receiving these afferent impulses. Okay, afferent impulses from vestibular apparatus of the internal ear. We have vestibular apparatus of the internal ear. And when I say vestibular apparatus, okay, of the internal ear, guys, I am basically talking about the utricle, the saccule, the semicircular canals, which are together called as the vestibular apparatus, guys. Yes, Hussein, where it is the body balance maintenance. But Hussein, if I ask you, like it is appendicular or axial maintenance, it is appendicular or axial maintenance. बताओ Hussein, इसका आंसर क्या होगा? So yes, vestibular apparatus, it's like the part of the inner ear, the utricle, the saccule, or the semicircular canal. So yes, so we have like direct vestibule cerebellar tracts, right? So we have like vestibule axial, very good. Axial equilibrium or axial stability is there. So we have vestibule cerebellar tracts, right? And remember guys, one important like important part that I have to tell you over here. That is something very, very important, guys, and that is it is concerned with axial equilibrium. Axial equilibrium, right? That Hussain has already told. Axial equilibrium, or it is also called as the axial stability. Axial stability, right? Now, you already know guys that this archicerebellum, it is having many connections with the vestibular nuclei, right? That's why it is called this, what we say, the vestibular apparatus also. Now guys, coming on to the next one, that is okay, the next to evolve. सबसे पहला जो बन के तैयार हो गया, that is the archicerebellum. The next which is going to evolve, it is called as the paleocerebellum. It is called as the paleocerebellum. Paleocerebellum. Yes. And guys, remember guys, this paleocerebellum, it is also called as spinal part. It is also called as spinal part, or it is also called as spinal cerebellum. It is also called as spinal cerebellum. It is also called as spinal cerebellum, guys. Now, what is so important about this particular pathway? Now, guys, this is the part. Okay. Now, guys, what are included in this part? First, let us just try to see in this particular thing that over here the vermis. Okay, over here the vermis of the anterior lobe is located. Let me just highlight for you guys. So yes, this is the vermis of anterior lobe. Vermis of anterior lobe. Apart from that, vermis of the posterior lobe has different names posteriorly, guys. Has different names posteriorly, guys. Over here, vermis in the posterior lobe, this structure, it is called as uvula. And this is called as, the other structure next to it is called as pyramid. It is called as pyramid. So don't like think about the pyramidal tracts or the uvula that is present. So yeah, these are like the uvula and the pyramid of the posterior lobe, and the entire vermis of the anterior lobe, So these are basically the parts of the paleocerebellum, which is developing after archicerebellum. Okay, so it is the next to evolve over here. So remember, guys, it is formed of, yes, it is formed of vermis of anterior lobe, plus we have uvula. Okay, that is the vermis only, but in the posterior part, only the two parts over there. Plus we have the pyramid. Now, guys, remember over here that it receives, why it is called as spinal cerebellum, guys. Okay, now it receives the afferent proprioceptive impulses from muscles and tendons, okay, via a tract that you have already discussed with me, that is called as the spinocerebellar tract. Right, you have discussed with me the ventral spinocerebellar tract, the yeah, the dorsal spinocerebellar tract, and that is also the dorsal and ventral arcuate fibers, right? So guys, remember this particular thing, it is basically responsible for muscle tone. Okay, it is concerned the function, it is basically the muscle tone, or I can simply say the appendicular stability, guys. The appendicular stability. Road riding hood. Appendicular stability, guys. The appendicular stability. So this function is basically the muscle tone or the appendicular stability, guys. Now, guys, you already know. Paleocerebellum, it is basically a part of the cerebellum, no, which receives the impulsions, or I can say the proprioceptive impulses, that are the unconscious proprioception coming from the upper limb and the lower limb, okay, which are connected to the spinal cord, right? So this portion, it is like, that's why it is called as the spinal cerebellum, guys. Receives unconscious proprioception from the like the upper limb and the lower limb, they are connected to the spinal cord and further connected to the cerebellum, So I hope this is clear, guys, everyone. Just give me a thumbs up in the chat box if this is like, if you understood this. Yes. And the third one, guys, which is to evolve over here, it is called as the neocerebellum. Guys. न्यू सेरिबेलम, नया सेरिबेलम, न्यू जो बनके तैयार हुआ है, इट इज द मोस्ट रिसेंट. सबसे पहले आर्के एवोल्यूशन के अराउंड, फिर उसके बाद पैलियो सेरिबेलम बना, फिर क्या बनेगा, न्यू सेरिबेलम. दिस न्यू सेरिबेलम, इट इज ऑल्सो कॉल्ड एज yes, Hussein, very good. This new cerebellum, it is also called as the, okay, cerebral cerebellum, or it is also called as cerebral part of neocerebellum. Okay, it is also called as, yeah, cerebellum of cerebral cortex, cerebrum. Yes. So it is also called as cerebellum of the cerebral cortex. It is also called as cerebellum of the cerebral cortex. Now, what are the parts which are involved? First, let us see the parts, guys. So it includes the entire posterior part, guys. So it is including the entire posterior lobe. It is including the entire posterior lobe, guys. Entire posterior lobe, except the two parts, guys, which you can see over here. Yes, except the two parts, that is the uvula and the pyramid. Apart from that, all the posterior lobe, the big posterior lobe, will be a part of this particular cerebellum, that is the neocerebellum. So uvula and pyramid are not a part of this, they are part of paleocerebellum. So the posterior lobe entirely is a part, okay, parts of the vermis also, but except the two, that is the uvula and the pyramid, right? So let us just try to like mention in our notes as well. So it is the entire posterior lobe. Yes, it is entire posterior lobe, right? It is the entire posterior lobe. And remember, guys, except the two part, except pyramid and uvula. The pyramid and uvula, right? Now, guys, why it is called as the cerebellum of the cerebral cortex, guys? It receives the afferent impulses. It receives afferent impulses. Okay, more. It receives the afferent impulses. Okay, it receives the afferent impulses from cerebral cortex, right? Via pontocerebellar tracts, I will be discussing this tract again, guys. No need to worry, absolutely. So remember, guys, what is the most important function that you have to remember over here? The most important function it is responsible for. It is responsible for smooth execution of voluntary movement. Smooth execution of voluntary movement. It is responsible for the smooth execution of the voluntary movement. It is responsible for the smooth execution of the voluntary movement. Now, guys, what does this mean? You already know, guys, if someone has cerebellar ataxia, okay, so what will happen? It will have tremors, like the hands will be like automatically, no, it will be in a state of tremor if it has cerebellar ataxia. Because again, the new cerebellum, it is not perfectly working. So because this new cerebellum will give a feedback to the cerebrum of the brain, right? Now the cerebrum, it is the part which controls the movement, right? Again, I'm telling you, it is for the smooth execution of the voluntary control, but actually it is the cerebrum only which will control the movement. So ultimately, when a smooth execution of movement is done, it is done by the new cerebellum, right? So yes, that is something you have to remember over here as of now. So yes, that is something, the tremors which is not in control, and that is because of this new cerebellum not functioning. That is called as the ataxia, right? One of the examples that we have discussed. So I hope this is clear, guys. Just give me a thumbs up in the chat box if this is clear to everyone. Yes. Just give me a thumbs up in the chat box if this is clear to everyone. Now guys, let us just try to discuss some more aspects over here. Yes, we have already discussed, yeah, the relations of the cerebellum, the site, and we have discussed the lobes, we have discussed the functional division along with the evolutionary division, also the vestibular part, the paleocerebellum, the neocerebellum, along with the fibers and why they are called so. Now guys, we are going to discuss the cerebellum with respect to a cross section. We are going to study the cerebellum with the respect. Yes. Hussein, very good. Shakti Shankar, very good beta. Yes. Now, Now, if I take a section through the cerebellum, guys, you already know that this cerebellum, I'm taking only one side, guys. This cerebellum will be connected to the different parts of the brain. Yes, it will be connected to the different parts of the brain via the three cerebellar peduncles. And you guys already know the name: the superior cerebellar peduncle, the middle cerebellar peduncle, and the inferior cerebellar peduncle. Now, if I just take a cross section, guys, I'm just trying to explain you. Now, the superior cerebellar peduncle, it will be like the fibers. It will be connecting to which part of the brain? The midbrain, right? The middle cerebellar peduncle, it is the pons, and the inferior cerebellar peduncle, it will be connecting with the medulla oblongata. Right? Now, this is the cerebellar cortex. This is cerebellar cortex. Now, what what guys you have to remember that this cerebellar cortex, the outermost part, guys, it is the cerebellar cortex only, right? Outermost part, that will be the cerebellar cortex only, guys. It will be the cerebellar cortex. And guys, remember, just like the cerebrum, the cerebellum will be having gray matter on its periphery. तो ये जो cerebellar cortex है जिसको मैंने green color किया है, so it is actually the gray matter. And inside guys, you already know we have this, yes, we have this white matter. Right? We have this white matter. So we are going to study the cerebellum like in 4 parts, right? So in this white matter, guys, we have different nuclei. We have like different nuclei are there, right? I will be discussing all the nuclei also in this white matter. What are the nuclei present in this white matter, right? So I will be first discussing about the cortex, right? I will be discussing the histology of the cortex. Then I will be studying about the nucleus first, right? Then the white matter. White matter, basically, I will be discussing all the efferent fibers, okay? Efferent fibers in the cerebellum. And then I will be talking about these peduncles. So I will be discussing it in 4 sections. First, I will be starting with this gray matter, or the outer part of the cerebellum, that is the cerebellar cortex. Guys. That is the cerebellar cortex. So let us just try to start. Now what I'm taking a section of the cerebellar cortex outside, and I will tell you how does it looks, guys. How does it look? Okay. So now histologically, so I am also discussing one of the important components over here, guys. That is the histological, yes, the histological features, okay, of cerebellar cortex. Okay, histological features of, I'm just writing down because again it will be of the cerebellar cortex, right? The cerebellar cortex. Now, cortex का मतलब हो गया बाहर वाला. Cortex का मतलब हो गया बाहर वाला जो हमारा ग्रे मैटर है. Cortex का मतलब वही है बाहर वाला जो हमारा ग्रे मैटर है. तो अब उस ग्रे मैटर में basically we have 3 layers, guys. We have 3 layers of that particular gray matter. Yes. Now, guys, remember that we have these 3 layers, and just please try to draw along with me, guys, because it will be like easy for you to understand the histology as well. Yes, we have these 3 parts. Yes. Now remember, guys, the cortex from superficial to deep, right? From superficial to deep will be divided into 3 layers, guys. The outermost layer, okay, we have the outermost layer, okay, the outermost layer, and that is called as the molecular layer. That is called as the molecular layer. Then we have the middle layer. Guys, and the middle layer, it is called as, yes, The Purkinje layer, obviously it is made up of Purkinje cells, Purkinje layer, right? And the innermost layer, it has various granules over here. Yes, the granular cells are there. The innermost layer, it is called as the granular layer. The granular layer, right? So histologically, guys, the cerebellar cortex, the outer gray matter area, guys, the outer gray matter, just this green color area, the outer part of the cerebellum. If I take a cut section, guys, if I take a cut section, histologically it is divided from superficial to deep. Okay, from superficial to deep, we have three layers: molecular, Purkinje, and the granular layer. Molecular, Purkinje, and the granular layer. Now, guys, in the in the molecular layer, closer to the periphery, guys, closer to the periphery, we have like cells, and these are called as stellate cells. These are called as stellate cells. Again, why they are stellate cells, guys? Again, these are called as stellate cells because they are star shaped, guys, right? So again, guys, we have three layers, but the number of cells, they are five, right? So the cells are which are like very much present at the periphery. अगर हम superficial से deep जाते हैं बेटा, जो superficial, जो बिल्कुल बाहर की तरफ है, that is, yes, that is the stellate cells, guys. So these are nothing, these are star shaped. These are like stellate cells. These are stellate cells, and these are nothing but these are the star shaped cells, guys. These are the star shaped cells that you have to remember. Right? These are the star shaped cells or the stellate cells, right? And the one which is lying more deeper to it, guys, you can see over here, that is the basket cells. We have another name of cells over here, guys, and remember, guys, these are nothing but the basket cells. The basket cells. Now, guys, how will you differentiate between stellate and basket, guys? Anything which is more closer to the periphery, guys, that is more outward, more superficial. Just remember stellate as star shape. Star is always high. So that is almost on the periphery, guys. And the one which is lying deep to it will be the basket cells. And the one which is lying deep to it will be the basket cells. Now, guys, remember these both are like the supporting cells, guys. These both are like the supporting cells, right? These both are like the supporting cells, right? So the highest cell in the cortex, guys, that is the stellate cells. The highest cell in the cortex will be the stellate cells, that is the star-shaped cells. Now coming into the Purkinje layer, guys. Now Purkinje layer will be having a flask-shaped cell. It will be having this flask-shaped cell. Okay, it will be having this flask-shaped cell. Yes, and that is called as the Purkinje cell. Okay, which will have its dendrite coming into the molecular layer. Which will have its dendrite coming into the molecular layer. And remember, which will have this axon which is going outside this granular layer. Which is going outside this granular layer. Right, which is going outside this granular layer. And this cell, it is called as the Purkinje cell. This is called as the Purkinje cell. Purkinje cell. Okay, so they are having the dendrites like which are like in the molecular layer, and axon will be seen leaving the gray matter into the white matter. Again, guys, how this is placed, guys, if you just want to see over here, guys. If you just want to see over here, if suppose this is the cross section, guys, right? If suppose this is the cross section, right? So I'm like not drawing all this, right? And guys, if this is the cortex, guys, so from outer, guys, you will have these stellate shaped cells, right? Then you have these basket shaped cells. Then again, guys, you will have in the this layer. Yes. Again, I'm just trying to show this cell only, just to make you understand, guys. This is yes. The Purkinje cell, which will be going, the dendrite will be going into where? Yes, the molecular layer. Let us suppose that this is the molecular layer, and the axon will be coming into this white matter, right? Will be coming from this granular layer into this white matter. If you just want, I can draw this as well. Yes. So that is like you have to remember. Okay, so it will come into the white matter, guys. It will not go anywhere out. अगर बाहर से अंदर की तरफ भी देखोगे, if you will just see from outside to inside also, right? कि बाहर वाली लेयर कौन सी हो गई? मॉलिक्यूलर. ठीक है, ये मॉलिक्यूलर लेयर हो गई. फिर हमारी कौन सी लेयर आ गई? परकिंजे वाली लेयर आ गई. और फिर क्या आ गई? ग्रेन्युलर लेयर. और फिर क्या आता है? अंदर व्हाइट मैटर, राइट? अंदर व्हाइट मैटर आता है, राइट? So this Purkinje layer is having this particular cell, right? This particular cell, that is the Purkinje cell. So iska dendrite, it is coming into this molecular layer, and axon, it will pass the granular layer and it will come into which? That is the white matter. It will come into which? That is the white matter. So I hope this is like very much clear to everyone. This is like very much clear to everyone, right? Now, in the granular layer, we have two different types of cells. We have like two different types of cells over here, and one it is called as the Golgi cells, right? Yes, one it is called as the Golgi cells, and the other one it is called as, yes, we have the Golgi cells over here, right? So we have the Golgi cells. These are the Golgi cells. And we have the granular cells, guys. We have these granular cells. Granular cells. Now these granular cells will be having, like, it will be directly connecting. Yes. These granular cells will be like connecting directly to this. Yeah. It will be forming a synapse over here, guys. It will be forming a synapse over here. And again, so yeah, it has a long axon, guys, which will be directly connecting to this Purkinje layer cells in this molecular layer, guys, right? Now, yes, obviously like this, right? So now there are 5 cells, guys. There are 5 cells over here, which you can see. We have the stellate cells, we have the basket cells, we have the Purkinje cells, we have the Golgi cells and granular cells. Now, guys, what you have to remember, all the cells are inhibitory, guys. All the cells are inhibitory. The stellate cells are inhibitory in nature. The basket cells are inhibitory in nature. The Purkinje cells, they are inhibitory in nature. The Golgi cells, they are inhibitory in nature, except for the granular cells, they are excitatory in nature, guys. Very, very, very important. They are only cells which are excitatory in nature. They are the only cells which are excitatory in nature. Now, this tells something that the cerebellar cortex, okay, it is containing a large number of this inhibitory neurons, right, in the entire central nervous system. No way you will see this inhibitory neurons at one place. All the cells, guys, all the cells which you can see over here, these are like inhibitory, right? So yes. So cerebellar cortex is the largest collection of the inhibitory neurons. So you have to remember it is the largest collection of inhibitory neurons. Guys. It is the largest collection of the inhibitory neurons, right? Now, Purkinje cells are basically the largest cells, guys, right? Among all, if you just want to mention the Purkinje cells, they are inhibitory also. They are largest cells also. They are the largest cells, right? Among all the cells in the gray matter. And guys, one more important point that you have to remember, they only have efferent from the cortex. They only have the efferent fibers from the cortex. They are only the efferent fibers from the cortex, right? They'll receive only the efferent fibers from the cortex. Now, Purkinje cells are not going out of the cortex, guys. Obviously, I've told you it's not going out of the cortex. Obviously, it is coming down into the white matter. It is coming down into the white matter. This long axon, guys. this long axon of this Purkinje cell, yes, it will be coming, it will be crossing the granular layer and it will be coming into this white matter, right? Right? So yes, that is something you have to remember. In one, I have told you about the whole the histological section of the cerebellar cortex. So I hope this is clear to you guys. Just give me a thumbs up in the chat box if this is clear to you. Just give me a thumbs up in the chat box, guys, if this is clear to you people. The histological section of the cerebellar cortex. Hmm. Hmm. Chalo. I'm just waiting for your thumbs up. Yes, everyone. Chalo. Perfect. Perfect, guys. Now, coming on to the white matter, guys. Now, we have already discussed the gray matter. We have already discussed the gray matter, all the three layers, the molecular layer, the Purkinje layer, right? All the three layers are being discussed, the molecular layer, the Purkinje layer, and the granular layer, right? Apart from that, guys, now I will be talking about first the nucleus of this white matter. I will be talking about this white matter. First, I will be focusing on this nucleus of the white matter. Now, I will be focusing on the nucleus of the white matter, right? Then I will talk about the efferent fibers of the white matter and then like these peduncles, right? So let us just discuss about the nucleus of the white matter. So put the heading as the, yes, the white matter, and in the white matter, guys, I will be like discussing the nucleus. Yes, that are simply called as the deep cerebellar nucleus. These are simply called as the deep cerebellar nucleus. These are simply called as the deep cerebellar nucleus, right? Now let us just try to draw a cross section, guys. Again, we have these three cerebellar peduncles, right? I will be telling you the arrangement also, guys, how they are like placed over here, right? So yes, we have these three cerebellar peduncles, and which you can see over here, guys. Yes, the superior cerebellar peduncle, the middle cerebellar peduncle, and the inferior cerebellar peduncle, right? So outermost we have already discussed. Yes. So over here I will be focusing on this. Yes, the white matter over here. Yes, we have the white matter, and in this white matter, we have like four nucleus, guys. We have this four nucleus, which you can see, and they are like placed like, yes, from medial to lateral, from medial to lateral. Obviously, this will be the midline, guys. This will be the midline. If you just remember, this is the midline and this is the lateral part, right? Medial to lateral, guys. So we have a nucleus that is called as fastigial nucleus, guys. Okay, we have a nucleus over here, and that is called as fastigial nucleus. So remember, guys, we have fastigial nucleus. Most medially placed, it is the fastigial nucleus. It is the fastigial nucleus which is most medially placed. Then, guys, we have, yes, one nucleus, okay, which is more, okay, let me just tell you the most laterally placed one over here first. Yes, we have this most laterally placed nucleus which is just like this crumpled paper. जैसे एक पेपर को बिल्कुल मरोड़ देते हो ना, या बैग लाइक स्ट्रक्चर जैसा है. So that is called as the dentate nucleus, guys. So this is called as the dentate nucleus, right? So this is called as dentate nucleus, guys, right? And like top to bottom in middle we have two nucleus, guys, that you have to remember. We have, yes, we have the globose nucleus, right? And below we have this, yes, that is emboliform nucleus. Globose nucleus, and below we have the emboliform nucleus. So over here we will have this, yes, globose nucleus, and below this we will have this emboliform nucleus. Emboliform nucleus. The simple mnemonic, like if you just want to remember the names, it is just like guys starting with the four alphabets D, E, F, G. Okay, D, E, F, G. Okay, D, E, F, G. You can just like go clockwise also D, E, F, G, and or you can just there are like various other techniques now to remember this. Now, let us first discuss about the dentate nucleus, guys. The dentate nucleus. You already know the dentate nucleus. It is the nucleus, or I can simply say, if I just have to mention 2 3 points over here, guys. Remember, guys, that it is the largest nucleus of cerebellum. It is the largest nucleus of cerebellum. It is the largest nucleus of cerebellum, right? It is the nucleus of new cerebellum. It is the nucleus of new cerebellum. It is the nucleus of the new cerebellum. Now, when I say nucleus of the new cerebellum, you guys already know any Purkinje fiber coming from the posterior lobe, right? That is from the new cerebellum. Those Purkinje fibers will first come to this dentate nucleus. Then this dentate nucleus will be giving out efferents. Okay. So basically, this Purkinje cells, basically they receive the afferent like from the new cerebellum. Basically, it receives the afferent, guys, by the Purkinje cells from the posterior lobe, right? I have already shown you the Purkinje cells. It will give the afferent. Okay, afferent fibers will come in, and from this, yes, dentate nucleus, the efferent fibers will go via the superior cerebellar peduncle. The efferent fibers will go via the superior cerebellar peduncle, right? So yes, again, guys, archicerebellum has no nucleus. I mean, yeah, till now it is like we have no nucleus over here, right? Now, globose and this emboliform, guys, the globose and the emboliform together, this globose and emboliform together, guys, they are called as nucleus, yes, interpositus. Together, they are called as nucleus interpositus, right? Together, they are called as the nucleus interpositus, right? So, now, in the white matter, guys, we have this deep cerebellar nucleus. Along with that, guys, you already know we have many tracts coming in. Okay, we have the dorsospinal cerebellar tract, ventral spinal cerebellar tract, pontocerebellar tract, cuneo-cerebellar tract. So basically, we have divided, okay, all these fibers which are coming into the white matter into two categories, guys. Okay, we are dividing these fibers into two categories. So over here we have completed with the nucleus. Just give me a thumbs up in the chat box, guys, if the nucleus is clear to every one of you. If the nucleus is clear to every one of you, just give me a thumbs up in the chat box. Yes. Hmm. I will be telling about like more about the tracks, then you will be like more understanding how hmm. Okay, guys, let us just try to now discuss about these, yes, the afferent fibers, right? So we have already discussed about, yeah, we have already discussed about the site, the parts, right? The cerebellar parts, right? The cerebellum parts, right? The functional division, evolutionary division, right? We have discussed the histological cross section. We have discussed the white matter in terms of nucleus. Now we'll discuss the white matter in terms of afferent fibers, right? So now we are going to discuss the white matter in terms of these efferent fibers. And remember, basically, beta, it is of two types. It is of two types, right? We have like climbing fibers. Yes, we have like climbing fibers. We have like climbing fibers. And the second category, guys, that you have to remember, we have the mossy fibers. The mossy fibers, the mossy fibers, right? Now, now I am taking a section of the gray matter cerebellar cortex. Now I am again taking this section of the gray matter cerebellar cortex. Now guys, let us just try to understand this section. We have already discussed this. Yes, we have already discussed this. Guys, you already know this is the molecular layer. Then we have the Purkinje layer. And then we have the granular layer. Then we have the granular layer. So we have three layers, guys, the molecular layer, the Purkinje layer, and the granular layer. Now in the Purkinje layer, guys, we have a flask-shaped cell. I've already discussed this flask-shaped cell, and that is having its dendrite coming into the molecular layer, right? It is coming into this molecular layer, and one big axon, right, which is going into this white matter. One big axon which is going into this white matter. Now, now, so that is nothing but this is nothing but the Purkinje cells. The Purkinje cells, right? These are the Purkinje cells which are having these dendrites. Now these climbing fibers. Now we have something called as the climbing fibers, guys. We have something called as climbing fibers. Now these climbing fibers, where are they present? Now from the white matter, guys, from the white matter, these climbing fibers, okay, white matter, basically these climbing fibers will be coming into this gray matter, and it will be like traveling all the way. That's why the name climbing, guys. That's why the name climbing. It will be traveling all the way, guys. Yes, above, and it will form a synapse with this particular dendrite of the snow structure, right? So that is something you already know. Purkinje cells, dendrites, no, basically going above, okay, axon going to the, yes, the more cortex part, right? The afferent fibers from the white matter, basically the climbing fibers, basically they will come into the gray matter, right? They will be climbing up, okay, and they have the capability of climbing. They will be going more out, and towards the molecular layer they will be forming a synapse, right? So that's about the climbing fiber. This is one of the climbing fiber, right? Now over here the climbing fibers are basically only two, guys. Only two, guys. The efferent fibers, basically. So remember, guys, we have, yes, the olivocerebellar tract. Olivocerebellar tract. Yes, olivocerebellar tract. Yes. Okay. And we have the paracuneocerebellar tract, right? So you just can write it out. It is olivocerebellar tract. Olivocerebellar tract. Olivocerebellar tract. So that is basically these two tracts will only are the climbing fibers which will be coming into this gray matter, from the white matter to the gray matter, the efferent fibers, right? So now the mossy fibers, on the other hand, guys, if we just talk about the mossy fibers, now let me just draw mossy. Mossy means your mossy, right? Mossy हमेशा ज़्यादा तो ऊपर चढ़ नहीं पाएगी, so एक ही फ्लोर तक रहती है. So we have these mossy fibers, and remember, guys, this mossy fibers will be connected to the Purkinje cell, and it will be done by the cells which are present in the granular layer. Now guys, you already know in the granular layer, we have a cell over here. And that is called as the granule cell. That is called as the granular cell. Now, how it will lead, like go to this Purkinje cell, it will not go directly, guys. So these mossy fibers will be first, yes, it will be first going into this granular cell, right? And from this granular cell, guys, another the fibers will be going towards this another, yeah, towards this Purkinje cell, then right, and it will be forming a synapse over here. Again, guys, what is the most important thing I've told you? The granular cells are the ones which are excitatory. These are carrying the excitations. Okay. So that is guys, you have to remember these granular cells are these are excitating. These are actually the mossy fibers which will transmit the signals first to the granular cell, and from the granular cell it will be going towards these Purkinje cells forming a synapse above. Hi Akshay, how are you? So that is about the, yes, the mossy fibers, guys, right? Now this synapse, guys, okay. Now this synapse, guys, which you can see over here, this synapse, which is between the mossy fibers and the granular cell. Remember, guys, this is called a very special name. It is called as cerebellar. Yes, it is called as cerebellar glomeruli, right? This synapse is given a special name that is called as cerebellar glomeruli. Now, guys, how to remember which tracks come into mossy fibers? Guys, I have told you guys, yeah, this is the olivocerebellar tract and para-olivocerebellar tract. These are the only two which are known, like the efferent fibers are the climbing fibers, which will go directly into the molecular layer, and it will be directly forming a synapse with the Purkinje cells. Rest all tracks, guys, rest all tracks, spinocerebellar, pontocerebellar, cuneocerebellar, all tracks will come under mossy fibers. So why to remember? Just remember the climbing one, the other one becomes much easier. The other one becomes much easier, guys, right? So that is regarding the afferent fibers, guys. So that is like regarding the afferent fibers. Now, guys, coming on to the cerebellar peduncles, guys, the last one to discuss over here. So we have discussed the efferent fibers, right? We have discussed like in 4 sections, guys. We have discussed the nuclei. We have discussed the white matter. Efferent fibers are discussed, the mossy and the climbing fibers. We have discussed the gray matter, even the histological section of the gray matter. Now these peduncles, guys. Now coming on to these peduncles, guys. Now these peduncles are the structures which are now connecting the various structures of the brain to the cerebellum, various structures of the brain to the cerebellum. So let us now, before starting with that, guys, just give me a thumbs up if it is clear, right? So we are going to discuss about cerebellar peduncles. Yes, we are going to discuss about the cerebellar peduncles now. Now, before starting with that, just give me a thumbs up in the chat box if it is clear to every one of you. Yes, the cerebellar peduncles. चलो एक थम्स अप दे दो फटाफट से जल्दी से सब लोग. आई एम वॉचिंग द कमेंट सेक्शन. यस. जल्दी से एक थम्स अप दे दो फटाफट से, द वंस हु आर अटेंडिंग लाइव. नाउ so yes, let me just see the comment section over here. Yes. So let me, yeah, just give me 1 minute, guys. Just an important message. Yeah. Sure. В Яндекс.Го скидка и бесплатная доставка первого заказа из ЖЭКа Донор. Заказывайте в приложении. Chalo, Tarun, Shakil, very good, guys. I hope you all are understanding. You all are learning. Yes, Hussein was here, I suppose. Okay. Now let us guys discuss about the cerebellar peduncles. Now let us just focus on the cerebellar peduncles right now. Yes. Now guys, you already know we have three cerebellar peduncles, guys. We have the three cerebellar peduncle, the superior cerebellar peduncle, the middle cerebellar peduncle, and the inferior cerebellar peduncle. Right? We have like three cerebellar peduncles, and they are connected to different parts of the brainstem. Yes. So anyone can tell me the superior cerebellar peduncle, it is connected with which part of the midbrain? Yes, the superior cerebellar peduncle, it is connected with which part of the midbrain? Yes. Now, let me just try to draw this, guys. You already know. I'm just trying to show this one by one, guys. Yes. So please be very patient about this because we are going to draw many fibers over here, right? So yes, we have the superior cerebellar peduncle, right? And yes, it is like connected to the cerebellar hemispheres. Or I'm like not drawing all this. Yeah. चल इसको फटाफट से देखते हैं. We have the superior cerebellar peduncle, right? The superior cerebellar peduncle. Then you already know we have the middle cerebellar peduncle. And the third one, guys, yes, we have the inferior cerebellar peduncle, right? We have the superior cerebellar peduncle, the middle cerebellar peduncle, and the inferior cerebellar peduncle. Now, they are all connected to, yes, they are all connected to the different parts of the brain stem. And you already know we have the midbrain. We have the midbrain. Yes, we have the pons and we have the medulla. We have the medulla. Now, medulla. Now there are two fibers which will be coming. जो fibers आ रहे हैं, they will be like the afferent fibers. जो जा रहे हैं, that will be the efferent fibers, guys, right? The afferent fibers and the efferent fibers. Okay, so we have like, yes. Ishit is like for everyone, beta. The ones who have not studied before, they can like study it. Nothing goes waste. All the points for relevant for NEET PG also, FMG also are covered over here. Right? Now, now the afferent fibers only have two tracks, guys, over here. The ventral spinocerebellar tract. Now the fibers which will be going in, guys, through the cerebellar peduncle. Okay. Yes, into the white matter, guys. Yes. This is the ventral. Yes, spino or spinal cerebellar tract, right? Or spinocerebellar tract. And guys, remember, guys, of course, this ventral spinocerebellar tract, I've already told you, it carries the proprioceptive sensations, right? Impulses from the lower limb to the cerebellum, from the lower limb to the cerebellum, right? Now, guys, apart from that, there is one more that you have to remember over here, that is called as the tectocerebellar tract. Okay, we have another one which is coming in, guys, and that is called as the tectocerebellar tract. Tectocerebellar tract. Again, this is something which makes sense, guys. Again, this is something which makes sense. Now, midbrain has three parts. मैंने बताया था टेक्टम होता है, टेगमेंटम होता है, right? और आगे वाला part जो होता है, that is called as the crus cerebri or the cerebral peduncles. The crus cerebri or the cerebral peduncles, right? Now, from the tectum of the midbrain, these fibers are coming. Okay. You already know from the tectum, basically these fibers are coming, right? And you already know in the tectum of the midbrain, we have superior colliculus, two and two inferior colliculus. We have already discussed this, and this is combinedly called as the corpora quadrigemina. हमने कल ही पढ़ा था ये. So they are actually coming from the superior colliculus and the inferior colliculus, right? And इसी को हम लोग combinedly क्या बोलते हैं? Tectum बोलते हैं. So fibers basically they are coming from this, okay, the superior colliculus and the inferior colliculus, and they will be going directly into the cerebellum, right? So obviously the superior colliculus, it is okay, it is for visual impulses, and inferior colliculus, it is for auditory impulses, guys. And this we have like already discussed in the midbrain, in the sectional anatomy of the midbrain yesterday. So that is how these fibers are now getting in the cerebellum, getting into the cerebellum, guys, right? Yes. Now, is it clear, guys? So we have the two afferent. One is the ventral spinocerebellar tract. It carries the proprioceptive impulses now from the lower limb to over here, right? And we have the tectocerebellar tract. Firstly, like it's like so yes, that is something you have to remember over here, right? Now the efferent fibers, okay, like from the majority of the fibers, guys, they are now coming from here, right? So we already know we have a nucleus over here, guys. We have already discussed about that nucleus, and that nucleus, it is called as the dentate nucleus, guys. It is called as the dentate nucleus, right? We have discussed this. I'm drawing a little bit above, but it's technically not correct. But over here, just I wanted to show you the dentate nucleus. So basically fibers, okay, now I'm telling you about the efferent fibers, guys. Now from the dentate nucleus, what will happen? These fibers will be leaving the superior cerebellar peduncle, okay? And these fibers will first reach the thalamus, okay? They will first reach the thalamus, and then the fibers from the thalamus will be going into the cerebrum, the cerebral cortex, right? So these fibers coming from the dentate nucleus reaching the thalamus, guys, this is called as dentothalamic tract, right? So this is called as the, okay, just name it as, guys, this is called as, yes, the dentothalamic, going to the thalamus. Thalamus के ऊपर cerebrum होता है, cerebral cortex. So directly cerebral cortex पे नहीं जाते, they relay in the thalamus. So that's why it is called as the dentothalamic tract. Dentothalamic tract, right? Coming from the dentate nucleus, right? Now, thank you, medical mnemonics, for your like comment. I'm like yeah, I'm thankful that you love our lectures, right? You show your love, like that's something which is very much important, and please keep listening to our lectures. It will be like now coming on to the next one, guys, coming on to the next one, the efferent, which is leaving this. Now the efferent, it is okay. There is also called as the dento-olivary tract. Again, there is one more tract which is now coming from this dentate nucleus, and it will go to the olivary nucleus, guys, down. So yes, we have the dento-olivary tract, right? So yes, we have the dento-olivary tract. Olivary tract, guys, dento-olivary tract, right? We have cerebellorubral tract also. We have the red nucleus down, guys, right? We have already discussed about the rubrospinal tract, right? So we have one which is going to no opposite side into the midbrain, guys, and that is just you have to mention over here. Yes, over here we have one more, guys, which is leaving over here, and that is again going into the midbrain, and that is yes, cerebellorubral tract. Cerebellorubral tract, guys, cerebellorubral tract. So this is the one which is now going from, it is arising from the two nucleus, guys. If you just want to ask me, there are two nucleus, the globose nucleus, and also we have discussed one nucleus that is called as the emboliform nucleus, right? So basically they are arising from this globose and the emboliform nucleus, and they crosses to the opposite side to reach the midbrain, right? Then ascends down into the red nucleus, right? So that's why it is called as the cerebelloruberal tract. Cerebelloruberal tract, guys. Okay, we have one more that is called as fastigioreticular tract. So obviously we have one more nucleus called as fastigial nucleus, and guys, it will go down into the reticular formation that is taking place in the pons and medulla. So the major ones you can remember, the two which are the ascending, I mean the afferent tracts, that is the ventrospinocerebellar carrying unconscious proprioceptions from the lower limb, and the tectocerebellar tracts, right, coming from the tectum, the superior colliculus and the inferior colliculus. Superior colliculus for the visual reflex, inferior colliculus for the auditory reflex, and the ones which are leaving the dentothalamic tract, the dento-olivary tract, the cerebelloruberal tract, right? Even the fastigioreticular tract, these are also the efferent one coming from the superior cerebellar peduncle, right? Now, guys, so I hope this is clear, guys. I hope this is clear. Now, coming on to the middle cerebellar peduncle. Now, middle cerebellar peduncle, guys, remember it is the thickest of the three peduncles, guys. It is the thickest. It is basically formed by the collection of the transverse pontine fibers, right? It is like basically the collection of these pontine fibers. Now, obviously, the middle cerebellar peduncle, it is connected with the pons. It is connected with the pons only. Now, now, guys, just try to remember it contains efferent fibers only. Very, very, very important. It contains efferent fibers only. It contains the efferent fibers only, and that too, these are called as pontocerebellar fibers. These are called as the pontocerebellar fibers. They contain the efferent fibers only, and these are called as the pontocerebellar fibers, right? Now, I have told you one important function of the cerebellum. One important function of the cerebellum, that is the comparator function, right? It compares the different inputs. No, that will no. One of the most important function of the cerebellum is to compare, or the comparator function of the cerebellum, right? So basically, if I'm doing this flexion of the elbow, guys, obviously the signals are being sent to the we have various tracts now, the unconscious proprioception, the dorsospinocerebellar. So basically from the upper limb, it is the cuneocerebellar, right? All these tracts are going into the cerebellum. Now they are the one which are telling the cerebellum, guys, that what is the position of this particular joint on this, the muscles which are surrounding, what is producing the movement, right? So if it is like, guys, elbow flexion, guys, so ultimately, guys, okay, so ultimately, guys, remember the action, it is basically produced by the cerebrum only, right? So the one which is deciding the movement, it is the cerebrum only. Okay, so if cerebrum will decide any movement, so it will send a copy to this particular part, and that is via the medial cerebellar peduncle. Okay, that is the cerebellum part. So it is basically sending one copy to this, right? So remember, guys, if you already want to know, we have one tract, guys, remember, yes, we have one tract which is going from the inferior part of the medulla oblongata extrapyramidal or tract, which is first be going onto the cerebral cortex, which will be first going to the cerebral cortex, guys. Okay, the cerebrum will be the decision making in this, right? And from the cerebral cortex, guys, from the cerebral cortex, it will be now coming into the cerebellum. It will be sending the copy of the same movement of the same tract, which has come from the medulla, like the corticospinal tract. The corticospinal tract, or I can simply say the pyramidal tract. The pyramidal tract, guys. Now, it is carrying this unconscious proprioception. Basically, it is whenever elbow flexion is there or any flexion, right? So it will carry this information to the cerebral cortex. Cerebral cortex is the one which will produce the action. But on the other hand, it will send a copy to this cerebellum also, and that is It cannot send directly to the cerebellum. It has to first reach the pons and then to the cerebellum. That is why this is called as pontocerebellary fibers, or it is basically, yeah, or it is basically cortico pontocerebral, yeah, cerebellar fibers, right? Because it is coming from the cortex to the pons and then to the cerebellum and then to the cerebellum, guys, right? So that is something you have to remember, guys, right? Now it contains only afferent fibers. It will not contain any other fiber, guys. It will not contain any other fibers. Now the inferior cerebellar peduncle, guys, you already know. The afferents are like many, guys. You already know we have the posterior. We have posterior spinocerebellar tract. We have already posterior or dorsal spinocerebellar tract. We have discussed this, guys, a lot number of time. Yes, it is the yes, it is the posterior spinocerebellar tract or the dorso-spinocerebellar tract. We already know the Clark's nucleus or the dorsal nucleus of the spinal cord. We have already discussed this in the spinal cord, guys, and it will come and end into the same side, guys. It will come from the same side. If it is coming from the medial side of the, I mean the right side of the spinal cord, it will be entering into the right cerebellar hemisphere only, ipsilateral, same side only, right? Now we have, yes, now we have another fibers like olivocerebellar tract, right? We have olivocerebellar tract, olivocerebellar tract, right? It is like the extrapyramidal tract which we have discussed, the extrapyramidal tract which we have already discussed. It arises from the inferior olivary nucleus. Olivary nucleus we have already covered yesterday. The inferior olivary nucleus in the medulla, right? In the medulla, and it crosses to the opposite side. Then it will come into this contralateral cerebellar hemisphere. आ कहाँ से रहा है? Obviously this inferior olivary nucleus है. Okay, inferior olivary nucleus. It is will first attend. It will be like crossing onto the opposite side, and then it will be entering. Not on the same side. It is contralateral. It is contralateral, guys. Right. Apart from that, we have, yes, you already know vestibulocerebellar tract. Yes, we have like another tract called as the vestibulocerebellar tract. Vestibulocerebellar tract, right? Vestibulocerebellar tract basically comes from the vestibular nuclei, right? And it will pass to the same side of the cerebellar hemisphere. We have reticulocerebellar tract. We have multiple tracts, guys. Just you have to remember it. Reticulocerebellar tract. Okay, we have dorsal external arcuate fibers carrying proprioceptive sensations from the low upper limb, right? Yes, the cuneo-cerebellar tract, which we have already discussed, right? Now the efferent which are going to leave from this, right? Remember it is the, yes, okay. We have cerebello-olivary tract, olivary tract, right? We have one which is cerebello reticular tract, cerebello vestibular tract. So we have like, okay, even the cerebello vestibular tract is the one which will be leaving this, right? Cerebello vestibular tract, vestibular tract. So these are the ones which are now leaving this cerebral peduncles, and this is something that you have to remember. So we have already completed this the cerebral section, guys, right? We have discussed the sites, right? The areas like this, the relations of the cerebellum superiorly, anteriorly, and on the sides. We have discussed the shape and everything, functional division, know the evolutionary division also. Okay, which part is involved in which function, right? We have discussed the cerebral cortex, the gray matter, the white matter fibers, the nucleus, and the peduncles, guys. Now let us just try to understand, guys, about the blood supply. Yes, just give me a thumbs up, guys, if this is clear to every one of you. Just give me a thumbs up in the chat box, guys, if this is clear to every one of you. Yes, just I'm waiting for every one of you to give me a thumbs up, guys. Yes. Check. Now guys, let us just try to discuss the blood supply in short. Blood supply of cerebellum. Although I will be discussing it later on also, but as of now, remember guys, blood supply of cerebellum. Shakil, very good beta. Now remember guys that the cerebellum, it is supplied by the three arteries guys. It is supplied by the three arteries on each side. Three arteries on each side. Now guys, what are those three arteries? Let me just try to show you guys. You already know, always starts from the left ventricle guys. From the left ventricle, what arises, it is the arch of aorta. Arch of aorta will have three branches: the brachiocephalic trunk, okay, the left common carotid artery, and the left subclavian artery. The brachiocephalic trunk again will divide into the right common carotid and the right subclavian artery. Now from the subclavian artery, the fourth part, basically from the right and the left subclavian artery. What is the difference between the right and the left subclavian artery? The right arises from the brachiocephalic trunk, the left arises directly from the arch of aorta. Right? Now, fourth part, basically we will have this formation of an artery over here, and that is called as the vertebral artery, guys. Yes, and that is called as the vertebral arteries. Yes, we have the right vertebral artery, we have the right vertebral artery, and we have the left vertebral artery. Left vertebral artery, and together guys, they will be joining together to form the basilar artery. Right, they will be joining together to form the basilar artery. Right, now what will happen guys, this basilar artery, just a moment, I like this basilar artery guys, okay, we'll be having like two branches over here. It will be having like two branches guys that you have to remember over here. Now one branch, now let us just simply suppose that this is the cerebellum, right? This is the cerebellum, right? So in short, I'm just trying to show you. Now this basilar artery, what it will do, it will give one branch, okay, that will supply, okay, the superior surface of the cerebellum. And this branch, it is called as the superior cerebellar artery. It is called as the superior cerebellar arteries. Superior cerebellar arteries on both the sides, right? Superior cerebellar artery. So that is the one artery which is supplying the cerebellum, right? That is the one which is supplying the cerebellum, right? Another branch will be coming from this no basilar artery also, and this will supply, yes, the anterior part and somewhat the inferior surface of the cerebellum, and that's why it is called as the anterior inferior cerebellar artery. Anterior inferior cerebellar artery. Okay, that's why it will be like, it will be supplying the anterior part, okay, of the inferior surface of the cerebellum also, right? Now from the vertebral arteries guys, again there will be one artery which will be coming and which will be supplying the posterior part of the inferior surface of the cerebellum, and that is called as the posterior, yes, posterior inferior cerebellar artery. Cerebellar artery. So we have like three arteries which are supplying the cerebellum: the superior cerebellar artery, the anterior inferior cerebellar artery, and the posterior inferior cerebellar artery, right? So that is something you have to remember. The superior surface supplied by the superior cerebellar artery, the inferior surface, the anterior part of the inferior surface supplied by the anterior inferior cerebellar artery, and the posterior part of the inferior surface, it is supplied by the posterior inferior cerebellar artery, right? Now again guys, one more important point, I mean that you already know guys, but just to complete the topic, what are the functions of the cerebellum? What are the functions of the cerebellum? Guys, remember that each cerebellar hemisphere influences muscular activity, of the body, of ipsilateral side of the body, of ipsilateral half of the body. Now each cerebellar hemisphere basically influences muscular activity of the ipsilateral half of the body. Again guys, remember guys that it coordinates, okay, it coordinates the action of different group of muscles, right? Different group of muscles, so that the movements like are done smoothly and accurately. The movements are done smoothly and accurately. I've just told you, right? So this is chiefly done by the new cerebellum. Obviously, the new cerebellum, the latest one to evolve, that is the new cerebellum, right? So yes, basically it is no controlling the muscle tone, also the posture, right? The equilibrium of the body, the equilibrium of the body. Okay, so it is these muscle tone, posture, and equilibrium. It is chiefly done by the archaeocerebellum, and paleocerebellum, paleocerebellum. But the new cerebellum is the one which will know control the movements, know like used to do smoothly and accurately. That is chiefly done by the new cerebellum, right? So that is all about the cerebellum that we have discussed today, guys. So in the cerebellum we have already discussed about the site, right? We have discussed the relations, we have discussed the parts of the cerebellum, right? We have discussed the functional division and the evolutionary division. We have discussed the cross section in terms of outer gray matter, white matter. In the white matter we have discussed the efferent fibers, right, and the nucleus. And in the gray matter also we have discussed the nucleus part, right? We have discussed the cerebellar peduncles, right, the superior, inferior, and what tracts are coming in and what are going out. Apart from that, we have discussed in short about the blood supply and the functions of the cerebellum. So that is all about for the class today. That is all about for the class today. So guys, thank you so much for having me, like for listening to me, for your patience, guys. Yes, thank you.